Cowboy man, you stand out. Are you You are Daniel.
The dead horse has told me details about the attack on your caravan. A stranger's sympathy might not count for much, but for what it's worth, I'm sorry. The Sorrows will mourn your friends too. They mourn everyone, even the Whitelegs. They have sensitive souls. Innocent, if there is such a thing. In spite of what's happened, I hope that Joshua and I can help you out of here. But to be frank, we need your help too.
What do you do here?
I used to help the Sorrows with various medical problems and general issues they were having, but my bishop sent me here as a missionary. We New Canaanites believe that there is a path to salvation for everyone, and it's important that we set people on that path if they are willing.
You said you used to help the Sorrows with their problems. What do you do now?
I'm trying to make amends for allowing our problem to become their problem. The New Canaanites, I mean. The Whitelegs have always fought with us. And with Joshua returning, Caesar has motivated the Whitelegs to stamp out the New Canaanites entirely. That means the tribes we work with, too. It's already happened. I just want to prevent something terrible from happening to the Sorrows.
Has this happened before? The Whitelegs attacking other tribes?
Yes. But not just Whitelegs. Raiders, too. Prospectors, slavers. Anyone who thinks they can exploit the ignorant and the innocent. We lost the Tar Walkers and the Crazy Horns. We did our best, but we made mistakes. We paid for them. But they paid more. I'd like to get out from under that debt someday. Until then, it's enough to stop ourselves from getting deeper in the hole.
The Whitelegs are here already, so what's your plan?
To remove the Sorrows from harm's way. I have to give credit to the Whitelegs for finding their way here. Though I imagine many died in the process. But they can't follow us east. Not into the Grand Staircase. They don't know how to live off the land. We head there, we can find some safety.
Why are you so eager to evacuate Zion? You don't seem to be a pacifist.
There's an old saying that goes, if you want peace, get ready for war. You've got me figured half right. I'll shoot dead any Whiteleg that tries to creep into this camp. But it's only to protect the Sorrows. The Lord helps those who help themselves. But the Sorrows don't know how. Joshua and I do. Since I got them into this mess, I need to get them out.
If you're willing to defend the Sorrows, why not pursue the Whitelegs?
There is an important difference between killing in defense and waging war. Even a Gentile like you should know that.
Joshua's a new Canaanite, and he's obviously willing to attack the Whitelegs.
Joshua is a living Bible of all mankind's miseries of war. The debt he has levied through his actions, he repays every day. He is a monument both to God's unending forgiveness and to humanity's unfathomable capacity for cruelty. It's written on every inch of his body. When you look at him, do you only see a man of God? Beneath those bandages, he is burned flesh. As he burns, so does he consume everyone around him. Joshua wants to fight because the Whitelegs have stoked the naked flame inside of him. You see the light, but do not yet feel the heat. I can pray that you never will. But it isn't up to me, and it isn't up to God. It's up to Joshua.
What do you know of the Whitelegs?
They're hateful savages who live only to plunder and destroy. Their leader is a devil called Salt Upon Wounds. War is all he knows. Everything he has, everything that tribe has, was taken by force, raiding, and scavenging. It's said there's no man deadlier at close range. that power fist of his has smashed 100 skulls. Maybe that's true, but so what? It's a low form of leadership. A tribe that knows only war has no future. And so he'll lead them to Caesar.
He's only smashed 100 skulls? Rookie numbers. You want to talk about who's deadly at close range? We're gonna find out real fast. Do you know about the father in the caves?
Father in the... Oh, right. He's some spirit the Sorrows used to believe in. Watched over them from the caves in the valley. They marked some of the caves around here because they think they'll be punished for going inside. I think as more of them learn the teachings of the new Canaanites, they'll lose their old superstitions.
Didn't she say that you were more aware of this than she is? But you don't believe in it. So that's why there was those white hand markings outside of the cave, where I then did find out about the person I talked about there. So maybe that even is the same person. You might want to have a chat with them. They think your lord and the father are the same.
Oh? Oh. Of course. How stupid of me. They probably also think Mary is the mother and Jesus is the child. No wonder they picked up on things so easily. I guess it just goes to show how difficult it is to communicate sometimes.
Joshua told me you needed a few things. I think this is everything.
Well, I'll be. I was starting to lose hope we'd be able to get any of this, much less all of it. Tribals are smart, but, well, they're ignorant. Letting go of a taboo is difficult for them. So I knew it would have to be one of us. Turns out all it took was a Gentile, or, no offense. These supplies are a godsend. But if we're going to evacuate Zion without drawing more white leg attention, I need you to go back into the valley. Specifically, I need you to scout out some locations for white legs and try to recover a map of Grand Staircase, a wilderness area to the east. There's also the matter of the roads. We're going to be heading out of the east side of the park, but I'm not sure the way is clear.
And some noises. Is that a new Steam notification sound? Is that what the other sound is I'm hearing? I need to go into my settings and see if I can disable that if that is. Like, I think that might be like an achievement sound. So it doesn't. One of those is a familiar noise and the other one's not. Anything to help, I'll do what I can.
I appreciate the enthusiasm. There aren't a lot of people in the wasteland with kindness to spare for anyone who isn't kin. Since you've been poking around the valley, you might see more activity from the Whitelegs. One of the Sorrow's hunters, Waking Cloud, has volunteered to help guide you through the valley. She has a special talent for staying out of sight. After this, it's just a matter of getting everyone out of here safe and sound. And hopefully, you can head back to the Mojave without any more trouble.
Daniel's giving you some pre-war mining explosives and a special detonator for them. They aren't useful as weapons, but they could be used to collapse certain caves if that proves necessary in your exploration.
Well, here we part ways. I'm needed back at the Dead Horses camp. Maybe I'll see you there sometime.
You sure? You've been a useful companion so far.
Sorry. Joshua was pretty clear. Get you to Daniel, then come on home. You can take it up with him if you'd like.
Give my regards to Joshua, then.
I will. Good gunnin', Akis.
Well, goodbye. Ooh, the water's freaking out.
Daniel said that I was to travel with you until you have completed your scouting. Is this pleasing to you?
Sure, I get different barks for a while. Sounds good. Let's go.
Certainly. We should make haste then.
Waking Cloud's giving you the Quiet as the Waters perk. While Waking Cloud's in your party, it is much easier to sneak by the white legs. Their perception is decreased. Okay. Whoa. Deal with the white legs as camp. Optional, steal the white legs as war totems. Optional, wipe out the white legs encampment at Bighorn Bluff. The treacherous road. Kill the white legs planted. Kill the whitelegs planting the traps. Disarm the traps on the bridge. Deal with the whitelegs traps. Optional, kill the Yao Guai at Pine Creek. Collapse the Yao Guai cave. Deal with the Yao Guai at Pine Creek. Alright. Let's deal with the river monsters first, I guess. Because first of all, I've already... You can't fast travel from here? Okay. Did they turn off... Maybe fast travel's turned off in this entire DLC, actually. It's not a huge area, so I can see why they might do that. Or it might be because they want me to talk to this person on the way out. Yep, sure seems like it.
By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down. Yea, we wept, when we remembered Zion. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it even to the foundation. O daughter of Babylon, who ought to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. Do you know what it means?
Well, I'm guessing you're pretty mad about something.
The Whitelegs didn't just force my people out of New Canaan. They butchered everyone who wasn't fast enough to get away. The elderly, the ill, children, those who stopped to help the wounded. It made no difference to them. They can't be reasoned with. The Whitelegs. Daniel believes that if we leave, if the Sorrows leave, the Whitelegs will stop. He doesn't understand what this kind of tribe is like.
And what kind of tribe is that?
God told Moses that the tribes of Cain would not be welcome in Zion. The Whitelegs are as close as I have seen, beyond hope, beyond redemption. But if the Sorrows die in a state of ignorance, their salvation may be delayed as well, passing from life in this world to a spiritual prison. We have a responsibility to protect this place, and those who have come to dwell in it. If you feel the same way, speak with Daniel. There may yet be time to save Zion from those who are too ignorant to understand what they have come to destroy.
Now he's heading back inside. On one hand, there's the idea of standing up to injustice and the fact that there's just invaders coming in and coming after everybody. But there's the question of whether or not the war that follows is worth it, and who is lost in the meantime. Granted, I might be able to just deal with everyone myself, which really fucks up the moral storytelling a bit. Don't actually know where Daniel is though right now.
Welcome back. What can I do for you?
What do you know of salt upon wounds?
He's a butcher. Believe me, I know the godless fire that burns in his heart. I've been burned by it myself. He's not the kind to let his subordinates do all the killing. No, he likes to have a hand in it, with that spear of his. He's fashioned himself an abomination before the eyes of the Lord. I'm happy to serve as an instrument of divine justice.
Can I ask you some personal questions?
It's not something I enjoy, but I pray to God that someone may learn from my mistakes. What would you like to know?
What are those bandages for?
For injuries I suffered long ago.
Were you always with the New Canaanites?
I was born in Ogden, what people came to call New Canaan. Things were more peaceful when I was growing up. When I was a young man, I went out into the world to do missionary work, as all new Canaanites do. I traveled along the Long 15 and followed 89 south into Arizona. Along the way, I met two men from a group called the Followers of the Apocalypse. Edward Sallow and Bill Calhoun. They came to teach the tribes. Calhoun was a good man. Edward was the one who got us into trouble down the road.
Was one of those men Caesar?
No, not then. Back then he was just Edward. Smart man. Young, but we all were. We thought we could hike into the Grand Canyon and talk to Blackfoots. We did. And the Blackfoots were friendly enough at first. But eventually... I've thought back to that day so many times. I must have mistranslated. Something must have been mixed up, because the Blackfoots decided we weren't going to leave. The rest is history, assuming Edward hasn't changed it.
How did you end up as Caesar's legate?
This way lies the path to hell. Caesar needed me to translate. Translation became giving orders. Giving orders became leading in battle. Leading in battle became training, punishing, terrorizing. A series of small mistakes before a great fall. And I stayed in that darkness until after Hoover Dam. After I failed Caesar and he had me burned alive, thrown into the Grand Canyon.
How did you survive?
I survived because the fire inside burned brighter than the fire around me. I fell down into that dark chasm. The flame burned on and on. The next morning, I woke up and crawled out of the northern edge of the Grand Canyon, that cursed place. It took me 3 months to reach New Canaan. It was as though the prodigal son had returned. They welcomed me like I had never left. Never done anything to shame them. The fire that had kept me alive was love. Their love. God's love. I will never be able to repay the debt I owe to them. But I must try.
Ah, so I misinterpreted that. I guess I'm just used to the dam being the thing, but I guess that, I mean, obviously he wasn't punished for losing Hoover Dam by being burned alive and thrown off of Hoover Dam because they didn't have it. But I just was primed for the idea that he had landed in water, but Grand Canyon, less so. I think there's technically a river in there somewhere, but not much. I don't know. I've been there. I would not expect to land in water if I fell into the Grand Canyon. Even if it was presumably carved by water, I think. What do you know about the war between Caesar and NCR?
I try not to involve myself with matters of the Mojave anymore. All I know is from before the Battle of Hoover Dam.
What do you think of NCR?
Better than Caesar, but that's not a high standard. Too much love of money and ownership. Not enough love of God and giving. Any society that derives its power and authority from the will of man alone lives apart from God and will crumble in the end.
Don't care much for that opinion. He's got the right idea of what the wrong answers are. And then we part ways. Do you know about Mr. House?
I had heard of him. But when we were preparing to enter the Mojave, he didn't seem relevant to what was happening. From what I've learned since Hoover Dam, he handled the Mojave tribes in a fashion not entirely dissimilar from Caesar. It's too bad.
I'm guessing you don't like Caesar very much.
Love the sinner, hate the sin. With Caesar, it's often very difficult to see through all of that sin to the person inside. I can say that we were both lucky that NCR's supply lines and land routes north of Mojave Outpost were destroyed before the Battle of Hoover Dam. Something bad happened near Death Valley, at a place called the Divide. NCR couldn't cut across anymore, and it slowed down the reinforcements. Terrible storms ripped entire companies apart before they even got to Nevada soil. The aftermath of Hoover Dam could have been even worse for Caesar.
Hard to see past all that sin. Leaves a film, you know? What's at the Divide?
I don't know for certain, and I don't think NCR knows either. Whatever happened at the Divide was too much for them to handle. Our Frumentari told us what they saw. Only fools and madmen would march into a place like that. All roads wind down to the same spot, the grave. They said all that's left there is a gaping wound cut into the earth, cursed and damned. No place for God-fearing folk.
Man. My pet peeve of the game giving you multiple things to ask about, but then kicking you all the way back to the main menu of the conversation after every line is really happening here, where there's like several layers deep of... You get several layers deep and it keeps kicking you all the way back to the beginning, and you're like, shit, maybe I should reinvestigate the previous conversations to see if I missed one, because they keep throwing me back here. The Divide blocked all their northern land routes?
Not all of them. But they couldn't take 127 north to get around the mountains. As if Death Valley weren't enough, they had the Divide and Big Empty to deal with. From what the Legion's explorers reported, the Big Empty may as well have been a wall to any living thing approaching it.
We might be done here.
God be with you.
When Salt Upon Wounds took New Canaan, he ordered the White Legs to salt the earth so nothing could grow again. What kind of monster could do that?
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of reason to side with Salt Upon Wounds. It really does come down to whether or not you want, it's better to run or fight in this situation. Everything just keeps pointing towards worse. Granted, this is the voices of his opponents, so they could just be wrong, but so far, it feels like it's echoing what happened with, this actually feels like it's echoing elements of the NCR versus the Legion. You have one party that's like obviously better by comparison, but like complacent, and then you have this warmongering invading group.
Katubiu.
But I just generally get the vibe like I don't like the Burned Man. Would not want to be on his side, generally speaking, but he's currently better than what's happening to this place, and that he at least wants to defend it. Do you have any family?
I do. A fine husband and 3 children. I miss them each day, but I take comfort in knowing they are safe.
Safe? Where are they?
When we learned that Salt Upon Wounds had defiled Zion with his presence, Daniel ordered the children, the old, and the sick evacuated from the camp. My husband volunteered to lead the hunters that went with them for protection. I try not to worry about them, but we have had no news for so long, and Daniel seems sad when I ask him about it. Sad and a little frightened.
Well, that can't be a good sign. I could talk to him. Maybe he'll open up more to me.
Perhaps he will. I sometimes feel he thinks he must protect me. If he has news, I would know of it.
Yeah, that quickly diverged from the idea of everything's fine. I'm so happy they're safe. Except for all the signs against that. So I think I need to wrap around and go up here. Instead of leaving, let's go deeper into town and take a look around. The funny thing with the Burn Man is just that, like, one of the worst things you can do to try to prove a point or make or anything like that is to, like, start quoting the Bible at me or any other religious text.
Father, I ask that you guide this man who is the vessel of your will. Show him the light of your wisdom and the peace of your love. Amen.
I feel like I just summoned that with my force of will. Although it's less of a quote and more of just, I guess you go in this cave. But for me, it's not that I'm inherently against any argument that any religious text has ever made. It's just that the text is often so, like, the text is often so outdated. So you hit me with this, like, thing that I have to interpret to figure out what you're even saying. And if my attention flags for just a moment, immediately it's like, oh fuck, I didn't know I was getting ambushed with a Bible quote right now. I already missed the first few words where I have to, like, sit here and parse the weird non-modern English to figure out what the fuck you're saying. And I'm too polite. I don't really want you to repeat it, so I'm just gonna power through this. It's like somebody, like, ambushing you with poetry without you knowing it's gonna happen, and then you're like, oh shit. I usually have to reread poetry to flag what the fuck we're talking about. You guys have just got tons of rats around here.
When Salt Upon Wounds took Canaan, he ordered the White Lakes to salt the earth so nothing could grow again. What kind of monster could do that?
Well, this is a dead end. Yeah, the best way that I would try to put it is that... So I guess this is probably one of those forbidden caves in the middle of the town. Are the markings here? I don't see them. Maybe those count? I have to go deeper past the waterfall, I guess. The way that I would put it, if we're trying to explain it to people that don't get what I mean, because you're entrenched in it, it's like when a really nerdy person starts quoting, like, I was gonna say Star Wars quotes, but Star Wars is too popular, but, like, it's like when you don't watch Star Trek and somebody keeps quoting Star Trek at you, and you're like, what the fuck is he talking about? You're like, somebody's just, like, making self-referential comments about a whole fandom that you're not a part of. And it's just, like, entrenched in lore and context and character, and you're like, I don't know what that quote means, man. You're just saying it at me like I'm supposed to know what you're talking about. And that's kind of what religious text sounds like when you don't know about it and aren't in a situation. You've just been going around this whole time. Like Tanagra or whatever the fuck that episode was. That Bird and I always quote back and forth. But not very well, because I'm bad at remembering the made-up words in it. Hello, sir.
I'm glad to see you're still with us. How can I help you?
Why do you need a map of Grand Staircase?
Grand Staircase is farther east, deeper into the Colorado Plateau. The Whitelegs were able to reach us here, but it's only because Zion is close to the Long 15. They can't pursue us east of here. It's too wild. Throughout our history, we have called many places Zion. This valley is full of God's beauty, but it's just a place. Zion is more than this. We cannot use any and all means available just to protect stone and water and a piece of sky. We have to hold on to our faith. Far more enduring. If we sacrifice grace for a piece of land, we may live in this valley, but we will no longer dwell in Zion. It's better for us to leave now.
Yeah, the previous comment might be it might sound like it's some level of sacrilege or something. But that's just like that would be kind of like willfully misinterpreting what my point was, which is just that you're taking something that's deeply steeped in lore and context and just shouting it at people. I'm like, yeah, okay, I don't recognize that quote inherently, so I'm gonna have to sit here and unpack what the fuck you're talking about. It's full of like city names and other things that I don't have an understanding of. So we're essentially being asked to make a choice here between their home and their religion, because the act of keeping it and defending it will be a betrayal of their beliefs, is the issue here. Is there any other way I can help the Sorrows?
If you could part with it, healing powder would be welcome. We have enough stim packs for now, but we can't rely on that small supply. Brock and Xander plants can be found throughout the valley, and you might even find some on White Legs you come across.
You mentioned you need healing powder. I have some if you're interested. I actually crafted it earlier.
Ah, that's great news. We can use anything you can offer.
Take all I have.
Your generosity is... well, I just can't thank you enough.
43? Wow, I have a lot of healing powder. I had 43 healing powder? Damn. I guess I got some of them off of bodies, and then I did earlier see healing powder at the bonfire and hit craft all and didn't think about it. So I don't think I even knew how many it was. Tell me about the Waking Clouds family.
What do you want to know exactly? I'm sure she could tell you much better than I.
She said one of her births was difficult and you helped her through it.
Oh, well, that's true. Waking Cloud is a talented midwife. She certainly brought more children into the world than I have. But there are some problems she's never dealt with. One of them came up when she was having her third child, and I really didn't do much. I'm surprised she mentioned it.
Did you help the rest of her family leave Zion?
I did.
What's the matter? Something happened?
Her 3 children are safe. They made it north weeks ago and met up with new Canaanites heading east. Her husband didn't make it. He died protecting their children from a White Leg attack. Do not tell Waking Cloud. She's one of the only Sorrows who can communicate easily with us, and her tribe needs her to be strong right now.
I don't think you should hide this from her, but I see your point. I won't say anything.
And I don't like hiding it from her. But I'm between a rock and a hard place here. Her people... Honestly, we all need her help. As much as it pains me to say it, there will be time to mourn later.
It's a bit grim there.
Until then.
That's gonna be it for now. And then I tell her immediately. I don't know, mixed feelings. On one hand, it doesn't pay to actively antagonize him. And it could be that if she's the only one of the only bridges for being able to communicate between the languages. Is Xander used for healing powder? 'Cause there's a lot around here. If she's one of the only people that can communicate, then they could be in deep shit if she shuts down. But on the other hand, there's an element of it being patronizing to... kind of patronizing and condescending to keep information from somebody because you know better than them whether or not they can deal with it. So not great.